We have a blockbuster trade. I know it is June 30th.
Pittsburgh was the most likely destination.
Yeah, guys, Tucker was given a 10-week suspension, which will be served during the regular season.
The U.S. District Attorney's Office is investigating Detroit Pistons guard Malik Beasley on allegations of gambling on NBA games.
It's midsummer, and just like in that movie, Midsummer, there's something big brewing.
Is it scary?
It is scary. If you're the Dolphins, or if you're Malik Beasley. Today, I, Brandon Perna, have massive trade news and a special edition of Law & Order Sports. 49ers corner Deommodore Lenoir was arrested. A suspension for Justin Tugger's official, and Jalen Ramsey is heading to the Steelers in what feels like a bit of a lopsided trade benefiting the Steelers. I'll tell you why the Dolphins are screwed, and Raheem Mostert, former Dolphin, might agree with me. Upon hearing the news that Jonnu Smith was traded, he tweeted, "Hot take, be a Pro Bowler on the Dolphins, get treated like shit. Happy for my guys though, go ball out." I'm not sure that's a hot take, more of a declarative statement, but I'm not gonna tell Raheem that. Oops. The biggest story though might be coming from the NBA. Free agent Malik Beasley, who is now being investigated by the U.S. District Attorney for allegedly gambling on NBA games for the 2023-2024 season. I might say this is news of a more serious sort. Would you agree, ESPN?
And you have news involving an NBA free agent, but of a more serious sort.
A more serious sort indeed. NBA officials became suspicious of Beasley when he asked Milwaukee Bucks general manager John Horst if his player option could be paid in bonus bets for prize picks. More seriously, the NBA may have been tipped off when he followed FanDuel and then went coast to coast here to cover the spread. Or when he told Anthony Edwards he'd need 7 3-pointers to beat him. To which I'll say anyone taking the over on 6.5 3-pointers deserves to lose $42 million in free agency, which is probably what Beasley will forfeit if these allegations are proven to be true.
I have a quote from Beasley's attorney, Steve Haney. He said, "An investigation is not a charge. Malik is afforded the same right of the presumption of innocence as anyone else under the U.S. Constitution. As of now, he has not been charged with anything."
Wow. Wow is exactly what I said when I got this ShamWow news on Twitter. That's what I call it when Shams drops a Woj bomb.
8 ShamWows for $19.95. Comes with a 10-year warranty. Here's how to order.
It's a ShamWow, and it's catching on, kids. Unfortunately for Beasley, he will need a lifetime supply of ShamWow to clean up this mess. Hopefully, he doesn't join the ShamWow guy in jail.
ShamWows are for everything, for everyday use.
Just kidding. Beasley already served 120 days in jail. Federal authorities, though, are investigating him on gambling allegations of prop bets. The good news is, statistically, he was about the same in 2023/2024 as he was the previous 3 seasons. However, one sportsbook detected, quote, unusually heavy betting interest on Beasley's statistics beginning around January of 2024. These are just allegations at the moment, and from what I can tell, Malik was taking the higher on himself.
Beasley! That's why he's there.
Which means he was playing harder to hit the overs. Another way to say that is he was giving himself performance bonuses. Now, the ESPN article cited a game between the Bucks and Trailblazers on January 31st, 2024. The odds on Beasley recording fewer than 2.5 rebounds moved significantly at sportsbooks before the game, shortening from around plus 120 to minus 250 due to a surge of action on the under. Beasley had a very nice season for the Pistons and was tracking to earn a 3-year, $42 million extension. Unless this investigation completely exonerates him, Beasley will most likely be banned from the NBA. Jonte Porter was banned just last year for disclosing confidential information to sports bettors. The lesson players need to learn is not don't bet on your own league. It's use offshore accounts if you do, you fucking idiots. The legal U.S. sports books are the ones reporting you to the leagues. They're the snitches, but you're getting the stitches. 49ers corner Deommodore Lenoir was arrested in Los Angeles last Thursday on a charge of obstruction of justice. Weird. Usually the cops are the ones obstructing justice. Attica! 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 Just kidding, I love the police. And NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. This arrest, though, does seem like bullshit. The entire ESPN article was 5 short paragraphs. If the worldwide leader in sports isn't milking a late June arrest, that cow is dry. ESPN noted a charge of obstruction of justice, but the LA Times more recently wrote he was charged with delaying and resisting a peace officer, which is a misdemeanor. And LA Times, just because your article says peace officer, doesn't mean I need to see a fish ad on your page. Now, Lenoir literally got arrested because he refused to give an officer the keys to a car that was not his. According to reports, officers spotted 25-year-old Marcus Cunningham frantically reaching into a gray Cadillac Escalade. He then locked the vehicle and walked away, appearing to conceal contraband.
Lenoir and a man named Marcus Cunningham were double parked. Police officers or a peace officer approached the double parked vehicles, noticed a firearm in Cunningham's car, not in Lenoir's car, and requested the keys to Cunningham's car. Cunningham tossed the keys, according to TMZ, to Deommodore Lenoir, and then Lenoir apparently refused to immediately give those keys to the peace officer, and he was arrested for that.
It was not Lenoir's car, the guns were not his, and he did not have narcotics on him. Considering Lenoir signed an $88 million extension last year, I think he's got a few dollars to fight the case and get this misdemeanor dropped or taken care of without issue. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're not gonna hit 760,000 subs by the end of June, but maybe by the end of July we can have 765,000. Come on, subscribe, damn it! Former Ravens kicker Justin Tucker has been suspended for 10 games.
So you're cool with the kicker being on the list?
He deserves it.
He was found to be in violation of the NFL's personal conduct policy. The league began an investigation after several local massage therapists accused Tucker of sexual misconduct.
He has accepted the NFL's ruling, the NFL's investigation, the contents of it, saying he wants to move on, but then also says that he's innocent.
Now, if you missed it this offseason, and that still feels weird to say, former Ravens kicker Justin Tucker was accused of sexual misconduct by 16 massage therapists, stemming back from incidents that took place between 2012 and 2016. Tucker's attorneys originally declined the allegations, calling them speculative and denying that he was banned from any spa, specifically 8 high-end spas in Baltimore, to which his legal representation said there's not even 8 high-end spas in fucking Baltimore. How could this happen? Well, I think there was proof he was banned from some of the spas. Considering this case isn't going in Justin Tucker's favor, I also suggest he switch legal representation and hire Justin Tucker Law, based right here in Colorado. That is real, and you are welcome, football fans. I did some digging to find that shit. But since then, the Ravens drafted kicker Tyler Loop.
Thanks, sir.
Released the greatest kicker in NFL history, and now Tucker has been suspended by the NFL for 10 games following a league investigation. And I'm going to assume that the investigation did not break in Tucker's favor because the 2 attorneys representing his accusers called it incredibly thorough and thoughtful. Those are words I never thought I'd hear about an NFL investigation, unless they were words used by the NFL itself. Tucker is currently a free agent, but he's going to be eligible for reinstatement on November 11th. However, I don't know if there are going to be teams lining up for his services even when he is back and ready to play, because last year he made just 22 of 30 field goals, a 73% rate, which was 31st in the NFL and worst of his career. It's almost like he had something weighing on his conscience that was affecting his kicking accuracy.
And my feelings don't matter.
Now, Deshaun Watson, of course, had 24 women file lawsuits against him, a couple of which claimed sexual assault in addition to sexual misconduct. So that's 8 more accusations, with much more serious allegations, and Watson received an 11-game suspension, so just 1 more game. The one thing I did not see coming was this situation with Justin Tucker making Deshaun Watson look even luckier than he already is.
It doesn't mean that a person is guilty for anything.
Tucker could have done 8 more misconducts and missed just 1 more game. And if you sign up now with code That's Good, you can do 12 misconducts for just a 1-game suspension. Now, we all knew Jalen Ramsey would be traded this summer, but I did not foresee it happening before the 4th of July, nor did I think Minkah Fitzpatrick and Jonnu Smith would be part of that trade. Do you know who else didn't see this shit coming? Ian Rappaport, who's on vacation in Mexico.
Hello from Tulum. You can see, you got nice little Mayan ruins here. We have a blockbuster trade.
Respect, Ian. I respect the hustle. Now, the Steelers are acquiring Jalen Ramsey, tight end Jonnu Smith, and a 2027 7th-round pick from the Dolphins in exchange for safety Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 2027 5th-round pick. How did the Steelers get 2 players and also demand a 7th-rounder to be thrown in? Is Omar Khan cooking? Well, not until he gets TJ Watt his new contract, which probably just went up a little bit after TJ saw Jalen Ramsey got a pay bump to join the Steelers. Thank you, though, Miami and Pittsburgh, for giving us a juicy player-for-player and player swap that included 2 former first-round picks in the month of June. The Dolphins drafted Minkah Fitzpatrick 11th overall in 2018 and then traded him to the Steelers before the deadline during the 2019 season. The Steelers gave Miami a first-rounder for Minkah back in 2019, and he has been a very good safety for them since arriving. All in all, the Dolphins used a first-round pick to select Minkah, got a first-round pick for him, and then gave up a corner tight end and a 7th-round pick to get him back. All while they could have, just paid Javon Holland to play safety instead? Javon Holland, of course, walked in free agency because Miami didn't want to match the Giants' offer. In the last 2 off seasons, Miami has lost safeties Brandon Jones, Javon Holland, and now corner Jalen Ramsey. Brandon Jones was graded as the 5th best safety last year in the league for the Broncos, by the way. Minkah, solid safety, but the Dolphins might now have one of the worst secondaries in the NFL. That's on top of major injury concerns for their pass rushers. The Dolphins freed up $25 million in cap by trading Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, but then added $15.5 million back on the books for the Minkah contract. Plus, they are rumored to now be looking to trade for a tight end to replace Jonnu Smith. So, to all the Dolphins fans justifying this move for salary cap purposes, good luck, because you still need a fucking tight end. And Jonnu was the 2nd most targeted player in your offense for the second half of last season, Miami. If I was a Steelers fan, ideally, I would have loved this move for the defense had Pittsburgh been able to keep Minkah Fitzpatrick. A secondary with Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., Deshaun Elliott, and Fitzpatrick sounds ready to compete with the one just solidified in Baltimore, which I talked a lot about in this last episode. Maybe the Steelers plan on playing 4 corners a lot, or as I call it, the square defense. Otherwise, the question becomes, is Juan Thornhill good enough to be your starting free safety? Steelers fans might also tell you Minkah Fitzpatrick was on the decline. Maybe that's true, and they can simply sign free agent safety Justin Simmons to fill the void of the declining safety. Here's what I don't get, though. The Steelers have 12 picks in 2026, including a combined 5 3rd and 4th round picks. I'd argue Fitzpatrick's play would have seen a nice uptick with the addition of Ramsey to that secondary had the Steelers been willing to give away some of those picks in the next draft, which they certainly could afford. That said, if they do crash and burn with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, they have a ton of ammo to start rebuilding in the next draft. The big concern for the Steelers is age. Ramsey's 30, Jonnu Smith will be 30 by the time the season begins. Throw in Rodgers and they combine for 100 years of Earth life.
So it's basically here all the time. We just can't see it because it's multi-dimensional.
Yes.
It's 5th dimension.
It's something.
Aliens, where at the very top of the temple, you have one of the most famous hieroglyphs, which has a spaceship.
Now, the Steelers got a starting corner, a big red zone threat, and a generally good tight end in Jonnu Smith, the pair opposite Pat Freiermuth. You could look at this as one corner who's probably past his prime, being traded for a safety who's probably past his prime. And you might be correct, but from the Steelers' point of view, this is a clear indication that they're going all in for a chance to win in 2025, which I think we could have all figured out when they signed a 41-year-old quarterback who just said this is his last year. But now you've got Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, and I don't think there's any way this isn't one of the best teams of the 2019 season. Holy shit, the 2019 Chiefs have to be shaking in their boots right now. No question. All joshing aside, I think this does raise the ceiling for the Steelers this year a little bit. The Steelers picked off the 3rd most passes in the NFL last season and allowed the 9th most touchdowns. This was a good secondary that probably got a tick better, swapping out Fitzpatrick for Jalen Ramsey. And I do like the addition of Jonnu Smith, a move that's going to be better than we might think. Rodgers is generally pretty good at elevating tight end play. Whether it's getting 11 touchdowns, a Robert Tonyan in 2020, or those 8 touchdowns from Richard Rodgers in 2015, Jonnu Smith got 20% of the targets in the second half of last season from Tua, trailing just Tyreek Hill. He reunites with Arthur Smith, and hopefully, with the scheme familiarity and Rodgers, Jonnu produces similar numbers. I think this is a huge win for DK Metcalf, who desperately needed another receiving threat in the passing game after George Pickens departed.
One-on-one, no safety help. No one can stop you?
No.
Not even Jalen Ramsey?
No.
I think I really would have loved this move for the Steelers had they been able to keep Pickens or Fitzpatrick. Oddly enough, Aaron Rodgers never really had a stud at the tight end position. Maybe Jermichael Finley pre-injury. Last year, his top target at tight end was Tyler Conklin, which I think limited the Jets' offense a bit. Now he's got a good inline tight end with Pat Freiermuth and a Sean Payton, cover your ears, Joker and Jonnu Smith to get mismatches. Smith is coming off a career year at age 29 where he had nearly 900 yards and 8 touchdowns in the Miami offense that really knows how to scheme guys open. And he's back with offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, who really knows how to scheme guys covered. That said, in 2020, with the Titans, he had 450 yards and 8 touchdowns in another good offense. It kind of makes me laugh that Arthur Smith was able to get 8 touchdowns out of Jonnu Smith with the Titans in 2020, but only 6 TDs and 3 full seasons with Kyle Pitts in Atlanta. Maybe it really is a Kyle Pitts problem. I hope you're listening, fantasy football players. Nice job, Steelers. If you need a 3-point shooter to add, I think Malik Beasley might also be available. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube. Like the video, share it with your friend, and send it to your gynecologist.